Hello everybody, this is Tim again, and just more RPG chatter videos, just to put some stuff out there, see what you guys think, see what you can respond to, or respond with, or whatever. I just wanted to talk about something called, like, the next campaign. Let's say you have a weekly group, or if you're not that lucky, even like a monthly group or a bi-weekly group. And so you're playing a campaign, we're playing Campaign X. And things are going pretty well, or maybe they're starting to fall apart, or it's just getting to the end of that campaign. What I've noticed in my group, my group that I've been with for a fairly long time, is that while the game is going on, we're always trying to set up the next campaign. Who's going to be running it? What setting is it going to be in? What RPG is it going to be in? Is there any thoughts on, does anybody want to play a certain game that maybe somebody else doesn't want to play? Or are there like 5 players that want to play fantasy, but maybe 2 want to play sci-fi? So different genres, So you have all these possibilities out there. And if you're anything like me and you have all these RPGs on the shelf over here, there's always something that's like, psst, hey, why don't you run a game with me? So there's always like that, there's always all these different options over there to maybe try to run a short game of, or like a one shot of, something. So I found that it's a good idea to have somebody working on something in the background whenever they have time, while they're being a player. Like, let's say that I'm a player in the current campaign and I'm going to be running the next campaign. So right now I don't have a lot of responsibilities. I'm a player. I'm just kind of showing up, hanging out, having a good time, and then heading home. So when I'm at home, I'm like, and as I'm a player, I'm not running something. There's times where I'm, kind of like, fiddling my fingers, and I was like, what am I gonna do? How am I gonna occupy my time? So that's another good way to, if you're bored at home or there's nothing to do, it's raining outside or snowing, there's something you can work on the side. I know Tower Guard DM says he had like 5 or 6 campaigns that he's been working on for a while that may never see the light of day, but they're there in case he ever wants to grab one and go with it. He has all the prep work done, or at least a good chunk of it, or a good chunk of the starting prep work, I guess. The setting information, that sort of thing. And I've made several settings over the years. I have a Burning Heaven setting where literally the sky's on fire, and there's all kinds of weird races. And then I have like a more traditional fantasy setting, which is that Marth Ice world where, there's a few different tweaks, but it's pretty much your standard fantasy races. I made other ones like the Hex World videos that I did. There was a project that was the same idea, but just me and a few friends tried to get together and put it together, and it kind of fell apart. Group projects usually do. But I've made several settings over the years, so I have those floating around back there too. Like if someone said, hey, I want to run a traditional fantasy game in a different setting. Do you have anything you could run? I'd be willing to grab that and use it, or try to knock the dust off of it first and try to run that. Or you get published settings all over the place, as long as you got time to read it. But as a general rule, it seems for our group, I think that's part of the reason that we've been so successful over the years, is that there's always something ready to go. Even if it's just like a series of one-shots that, let's say okay, everybody shows up, all the players, and the GM calls and, hey man, I'm not going to be able to make it tonight. Something happened with my kid, I have to go to the emergency room, or, my car broke down, or whatever the case is. Then everybody else, if you didn't have that next campaign kind of worked on a little bit, would have to cancel that night, or maybe watch a movie or play a board game or a card game or something. So as a general rule, we like to try to bring the plan B game, like just in case someone doesn't show up, we have enough to play or run something. And of course, there's always that chance that you're not going to really get a good, really good head count as far as who's coming, and you show up and you might be the only player, and that's tough. It sucks to be the only player that actually shows up or communicates that you're going to be coming or not. But so the next campaign, just if you're a player in a game and try to step up and share that GMing duty, that responsibility for your group. I think another reason my group has done pretty well over the years is because there have been like 3 or 4 people that are willing to GM. So, if I'm running and if I'm just like crispy, burnt black on the edges, and I'm just barely making it week to week, people can tell, and they'll be like, well, you've been running for, half a year, or whatever. Maybe it's time someone else take over. Can we wrap up the story in a relatively quick fashion and have it make sense and that sort of thing, and then start the new game. Although sometimes campaigns just fall apart. Maybe the GM just runs out of inspiration and he's like, well, after this dungeon, guys, I really don't know what to do. So I don't know. Maybe we should start playing, one of the guys' one of the players' games instead and have him run for a while. But so I don't know. That's just the general idea. Just as a general rule or guide or whatever, try to have a Plan B campaign and someone working on it in case things fall through. And I know some groups actually run 2 simultaneous campaigns at the same time, where they'll be like, okay, this week we're playing, Forgotten Realms, and next week we play Ravenloft, and then we play Forgotten Realms and then Ravenloft. And then in that way, in case someone cancels, they have the second campaign that they could run. But and even in my Monday group, we sometimes have 2 or 3 games lined up in the future and have multiple people working on things at the same time, so that by the time they are up to run again, they have lots of information and there's little to no stress because they've had time to work things out, and they haven't been rushed. I don't know about you, but sometimes when I'm starting a campaign, I work so hard on making everything that it's almost like I burn out even before I start running, because I'm stressed about the setting, or I'm just spending a lot of time. I don't know. I think I get a little too serious about prep work sometimes, but it tends to be the case when I'm not running rules light RPGs as a general statement. But anyway, that's pretty much all I have to say. I could probably ramble on for a while, but I'll just stop now. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.